All right, I'm pretty blessed today to be sharing time and space with Homeless. She's a U.S. Coast Guard veteran, and she's actually going to a private school doing some trade work here in a Northern California community that shall remain anonymous. But maybe you could just give us a little bit of your story and how things are going for you and the situation that you're at.
I didn't expect that I'd ever be in this position, but I consider it a privilege now. And I know that sounds strange, but I've always been dedicated in my profession to help people. And I got divorced this year, and because of that, I ended up homeless. And so I'm having to face a lot of the issues that homeless people face that everyday people aren't really familiar with, and I really consider it a privilege because I've noticed that there's a lot of really good people out here, and they're mistreated. And
can you give us an example of how they were mistreated? Or
you would think that because they're just a human being, that people would treat them with more compassion, but because they're homeless, people literally step over them. I mean, just one of the first few days I was homeless, I've been an emergency responder since I graduated high school, and the first day I saw a man laying on the grass in the hot sun, not awake, and apparently he was intoxicated, but a lot of people don't think that that's a life threat, and it is. And people were walking by and nobody did anything, and I checked him and I called EMS for him, and he didn't even have a blood pressure. I mean, it was good that I called it because probably saved him. He was out in the hot sun, and we're reaching temperatures of like 105 degrees. So it was that's an example, and it's hard to believe that it happens anywhere where there's towns where you step over another human being and just keep going. I had heard about that happening in New York, but it was unbelievable to see.
Now you have children as well.
Yeah, I have 2 young children, and my ex-husband and I are going to split custody with them, but right now I'm going to school, so I only see them on weekends.
Yeah, it must be hard.
Yeah, it is hard, but it'll help me get back on my career, and so I can get a job and get back on my feet, and I won't have to be homeless anymore.
Can you give me just a little bit of information about your experience with the VA services?
Yes, they've been actually very helpful. I served in the Coast Guard, and I hadn't gone to get registered, which every veteran can as soon as they get discharged, and you can get services through them. And I just hadn't used them, and it was nice that I was able to get connected with them right before my divorce, because I had health insurance benefits when I was married, and the divorce came, and I wouldn't have had anything if it weren't for the VA. And I have depression and anxiety and PTSD, and I'm glad that I have a resource to turn to. They're very helpful to me, and they really show a lot of concern and are always there for me. I would advocate to the homeless the Veterans Crisis Line, because you can chat with them on the computer or text with them or call them, and they're there to help you when you feel down. They have someone to talk to, because I know that there's a lot of people out here who are alone.
I mean, would you like to talk about your issues with suicides or not?
Oh,
it's
yeah.
entirely up to you.
Yeah, I've been pretty healthy my whole life, and then started going through this divorce, and I've always had trouble making friends, and so just everything sort of happened at the wrong time, because things are going well where I was, and I was getting friends, and it was just wonderful, and then I was getting divorced, and then I had to relocate from the community that I was from, and I really miss it, and everything. It was just, I felt overwhelmed, and I attempted suicide, and that has always been something I've been battling with since the beginning of the year. when I feel that I have a lot of pain and that if I take some medications that make you very sleepy and out of it, it'll help me deal with the pain. And sometimes if you go too far, you can die. And the Veterans Crisis Line is what usually, they help me with it. But
any advice for anyone else going through this similar circumstances, thinking of taking their life, or what would you say to those folks?
You can't come back once you try. So it's a very big risk, but I sometimes do it just like for the effects of the medication. And I know that if I'm not careful, it could take my life. So I just say be careful, because once you decide to do it, sometimes there's no coming back.
Is the training helping you? It seems like maybe, is that helping you to get a little more stable and feel more optimistic?
Yeah, I'm really pretty busy at school. And the only thing that's been hard is the loneliness and being alone in a community that I'm not from. So I'm like totally isolated without family, without friends. And that's been the hardest struggle. But my school is full time, so I'm pretty busy. Then another obstacle is like not having any food while I go to school, but drinking lots of coffee with sugar in it has been helping me.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, we got some food yesterday, which is always good.
Yeah.
Hungry, angry, lonely, tired. We took care of the H part.
Yeah.
If there's anything you'd like people to know about your situation or yourself personally, what would that be?
I think that, like I said, that to me, even though it's kind of a bad situation being homeless, I consider it a privilege, and I think that everyone who graduates high school should have like 1 year doing it. Whether you're going to be the future president of the United States or the local teacher at an elementary school, there's a lot to learn that you can't understand until you live through it. Mm-hmm. And I was surprised that, like, for women, they tend to be for the most part, women tend to be one of the most vulnerable out here, but the only way that you can get help, which surprised me, is that if you have children with you or if you've been assaulted. So if neither of those apply, then you're out in the street just like everyone else, and that totally surprised me. So you just pretty much have to get assaulted to get any help, and that's not safe, not cool.
Do you have any favorite Bible verses?
I
heard you listening to the Christian rock, so I don't usually ask that question.
I love K-Love, and that keeps my mood up. That's definitely been a lifesaver.
K-Love?
K-Love, yes. It's a nationwide Christian station, and I don't know about a favorite verse right now. I mean, I read the Bible, and I probably do have a lot. The one quote that I like a lot is from Mother Teresa, who says, I know God only gives me what He knows I can handle. I just wish He didn't trust me so much.